the Bronco games begin. 1974 Ford Bronco. This is my baby.
This thing's a fun truck, but it's definitely not a fun truck. We're gonna rip every bit of this totally out and just start over. We're gonna bring this thing into the 21st century.
Great Coyote. Should be putting a little over 7 after the tuning.
It's a big old motor in a small little place, man. The side-by-side is great to get out and just have a good time with the family. It's time for an upgrade. I want to build an all-tube buggy. If this isn't a ground-up build, I don't know what it is.
Oh, look at my girl. Look at my girl.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
Like seeing a new project roll through the doors, especially, you know, a cool Bronco rolls up, but popping out of the driver's seat.
The beast has landed. Bill.
Is Ted Nugent.
Are these the greatest trucks in the world?
They are, man. I'm a big fan of the Broncos for sure.
Original Bronco, it's an icon, man. I've been Broncoing my whole life. I got my first one in 1970. I got a 66. I got a 73. I got a big Bill Strop fire-breathing 90. I've always had Broncos. I love my Broncos. But this one I've probably had for 30 years. My beloved 1974 Ford Bronco. This is my baby. What you guys do here are miracles of wrench dreams, and I can't wait for you to turn my beast into my dream.
What are you doing with this?
Well, I want it to always be an old Bronco. You know, the look, the history, the icon. I want it to be tough, dependable, highway and Baja. And I know you can do it. I've seen what you've done.
Absolutely.
Probably a lot more horsepower, a lot more torque.
I got something in mind for that.
I bet you got something in mind for horsepower and torque. Bottom line is I want performance and fun. I want,
or has been all his life. He's had these things since these things were new. So he knows all about the Broncos and he knows exactly what he wants. So power. Performance. Reliability is a given.
Number one.
So underneath this thing, we're just going to rip everything out and just start fresh.
Drive line and drive shafts, heavy duty stuff.
Everything 100%, just bulletproof.
Yep. Well, I need a Baja capable suspension as if I was going to go race in an off-road race, which I did for about a dozen years.
What are you working with under here?
I know you pivot as I do on the heart of the beast. And here we have the heart of the beast. It's a beautiful 360 stroker that really performs well and delivers close to what I'm dreaming of.
Popping the hood on this thing, you see the engine that's in it. It's all right, but this is for Ted Nugent. It's got to have a lot of power. I think the best thing to do with this is just rip all this out. Every bit of wiring, the engine, the trans, and just start fresh.
Bill Strop would be proud.
This is going to be fun.
I know black trucks are cool as hell, but I've seen some of yours. Deep, dark bronze, copper, and all the accessories keep them black. How am I doing? I'm just a guitar player. That sounds pretty good.
That sounds real good. The bronze look on this thing with black accents.
That's my Freedom Eagle. This is my Freedom Eagle. I know this might not be preferable to some custom truck designers, but when you're all done, put my Eagle back on.
All right, you got it. So what do you got on the interior of this thing?
Well, you know, you and I share a dream on the exterior, and I'm sure we share that dream on the interior. The stock Bronco seats are awesome. The speakers are too big. The roll cage, you're going to have to extensifize for me. But I want you to recommend stuff every step of the way, because your trucks are the best I've ever seen.
Well, I already know what to do. We're going to rip every bit of this totally out and just start over. New gauges, new steering wheel, new everything. Something just comfortable.
I've had so much fun working on my trucks all these years, and I know these guys at Extensive, they love their work. This is their dream job, and this is my dream project. We have a dream, and we share it. Bring my beast to life, Bill.
You got it. You know, this old Bronco, it was built to be used. This thing is just meant to go out and conquer things. Every button on this thing, every handle, lever is built for a purpose. You know, just looking over this thing, seeing all the modifications, time is over. There's so many things we can build at the shop that just gonna bring this thing into the 21st century and make something really, really, really cool for Ted. Before we start cutting up this Bronco, I really need to take it on a spin and really see what old Ted's working with. When I'm out on a test drive in the vehicle like this, you kind of feel how much power it has. You feel how it handles, how it just drives down the road. You just kind of see where all the improvements need to be. In this case, everything needs to be improved. This thing's a fun truck, but it's definitely not a fun truck. It was good in the past, but now it isn't cutting it. As you can see, didn't take much to get this thing stuck. We're gonna get it unstuck, get it back to the shop so we can cut this thing up. What do you think about the old Bronco? Pretty cool, huh?
That's real cool.
A little bit. You know, it definitely doesn't have the power that it needs.
Bill Carlton said some don't have power.
Yeah.
Only 9 out of 10 times.
Ted wants to get in this thing and drive it wherever, however,
off-road, jump, whatever he wants.
He's gonna abuse this thing. I want this thing to be able to go 100 miles an hour down the road and just jump over stuff, jump right back on the freeway, haul ass home.
So he drives just like you.
You know, I might have to drive it home and test it out a day or two, you know, just to make sure it's good for him before we give it back. Right? First thing we need to do is get it up on the lift so we can strip out all the old suspension. Everything's got to go. We'll build a super strong, bulletproof 4-link suspension, coilovers, front and rear, something that he can just launch this thing. Got a stroker 360 in there. Looks nice, decent. You know, it was real cool back in the 80s, but it's definitely not going to cut it now. Rip everything in here, all the wiring, everything 100% out of here. I'm going to put a brand new 5.0 with the supercharger on it.
This little thing with supercharger.
Right? Once we get all the suspension built, John and the guys over at Interior Shop can start building him something old and put back in what's needed. As far as the exterior, of course I like black cars, but in this case, he picked a bronze copper color. Of course, we'll put our little spin on that to really get the color right on it.
We're getting rid of the eagle, right?
Man, he was pretty set on having the eagle on the hood, so I don't know if I can talk him out of that one. Ted's definitely made updates to this Bronco over the years. But we're going to tear all that out. The old suspension, drive shafts, shocks, you name it. So we can start all over again.
Well, there is a bunch of stuff in here.
Bunch of everything bolted down.
What we'll do, I guess, is take the hood, flip it all the way back, and then pull everything out from the top. So we'll take everything, just fold it over on top of the motor, put it on a pallet, wrap it up, and then we'll get ready to put the Coyote in it. Jamie, watch your fingers, listen. All right, back up. Let me see that, Bravo. Let the truck down some, just a little bit. Now we have it out, we're gonna wrap it up with some plastic, put all the parts on this pallet. We'll ship that back to Ted. He's got 4 or 5 other Broncos. He liked this motor so much, he's gonna put in something else.
I got for you today. Crate Coyote, a little supercharger on top. Should be putting a little over 7 after the tuning.
This thing's gonna be a huge improvement to what we pulled out of that thing.
This is gonna be 100% American flag waving rock and roll.
One down. Good?
Yeah, good so far.
A big part of the custom world is creating custom details, even in places you don't always look.
It's a big old motor in a small little place, man. That thing fits in there.
Wake up this 74 Bronco, but we definitely can't leave its engine bay looking stock.
Basically, when you open this hood, it just looks squared. It was bed linered. It just looked like an old Bronco. So we're adding these panels in here. These two here to take up the sides. Now we're gonna do the front panel that covers the radiator. Kind of made a rough template. This will give us a rough estimate of where we need to be. We'll cut this piece out of a piece of sheet metal. It's gonna fit right on the truck the first time. Yeah, that's a good part about doing what we do is there's no real book on how to do it. Everybody has their own different way. So with this, it's just kind of free reign to do whatever you want, as long as it makes the engine bay look better. And when it's done and painted, it looks like a lot of thought went into that rather than just a bunch of scanning and print. What do you think, buddy? You got a cold-ass nose. You know, this is another example of like geometry in school, trying to read out of a book, wasn't happening. Now, in the shop, whether it's a suspension, it's placing a back panels, we use it all the time. Hands-on geometry, I love. Trying to figure things out, trying to figure out angles, this and that. If I would have hands-on learned it like this, I would have been a straight A student. See how this engine bay starts, everything hidden. So when you open the hood, it makes all your attention go to this motor. We want to give him 100% effort on this engine bay. When you open it, it's just a wow factor. John! Help us grab his top off?
Ted's Bronco just isn't for show. So I have Tim and John building a custom lift that's going to give this Bronco a ton of travel and going to ride super smooth.
So in the back of this Bronco, we're doing a triangulated 4-link instead of just your traditional parallel 4-link with a panhard bar. And what we got is our lower arms starting out wide, coming in towards the frame, and the upper arms starting narrow and go wide towards the frame. And that's what keeps the rear end centered underneath this truck. In my honest opinion, this suspension design is way better for like off-roading or jumping stuff. If you jump off the ground or hit bumps or uneven roads, this thing stays centered as the axle does this. And that's what we want, because he is going to be off-roading this truck. So he has to have the best suspension articulation for it. Now we got a 4-link in place, exactly where we want our rear end. Cycle the suspension up and down. Articulates pretty good, Timmy. This thing's gonna drive really, really good.
So when this Bronco came in, it was originally leaf spring, where the leaf spring held the Bronco up. I need room for the coilover to go to here, up, and as you can see, we're gonna run into the body. So I'm gonna come in here where they've already notched it back for their shock. I'm gonna cut the body out of the way, and then we'll have room to mount the coilover however we want, to mount it properly, without having to go around the body. This is the notch on the bottom. So we're gonna continue this line back, flush with the back. I'm gonna cut this, and this will eventually move out to here, and we'll skin the middle back in. As you can see, this thin wall tubing definitely was not gonna hold the truck up. So it's basically made for a shock, not for a coilover.
Off-roading's come a long way since this Bronco rolled off the lot in 1974. And while we're bringing the suspension in the 21st century, John and Brian are going to update the interior.
What's up, man?
What we got?
We got parts. We got a new project going on.
What we got today?
So, man, I'm thinking on the
Heat shield?
AR heat shield. What I'm thinking is we take these and use these as armrests. And we can take these rail mounts and get these mounted to the door. Take this with the Picatinny rails in it and bolt it in place. And then
solid.
Yeah, and then down on the bottom of this door, just to break up that flatness, well, I'm thinking we just take out of some ABS plastic and make our own Picatinny rails. We just wrap the door panel over top of those, and this thing will come together pretty quick.
Let's get it. Got my piece of ABS here. What I'm fixing to start doing is I'm gonna put this on this table saw. With this dado blade here, it'll cut us the right width that we need to start making our mock-up Picatinny mounts out of plastic. But now that I've got this panel all cut down to mimic the Picatinny rails, now I gotta cut it into thinner strips so it carries the same design all the way through. Now that these are all cut, you notice these are square versus these are beveled over. And then we'll run them back through so we can bevel the edges to make it mimic perfect. See my bevels here? We are matching now. Our dado blade cuts these little lines in here. We gotta get those out of there. We use this tucking tool. You just get them in there and push them, pop it loose.
These things are going to see where we want to put that at. We got everything cut, modified, ready to go. Get it marked out so we can get the holes drilled in. And then we'll take these rails here that Brian just finished up. We'll get these on the bottom of the door. Get everything locked into place. Once it's all locked in, this panel will be ready to wrap and get it on the truck.
Busy as we are, I gotta make a little time to take the kids out to nature. You know, just clear my mind. Ted's been a huge part of the off-road community for many years, and working on this Bronco has made me think about something that I had in mind for quite a while. You know, it's no secret, I'm kind of hard on my vehicles. I hadn't found one yet that'll hold up 100% of the time when I'm driving. So, I'm gonna start building my own.
I knew it. It's time for an upgrade.
That was fun.
Yeah. Are you gonna build one of these?
Maybe. It crawls over stuff, but I know we can build something way, way bigger and better.
So does Mom know you want to build one of these?
She don't even know everything. You know, I've been thinking about this project for quite some time. You know, after taking the kids out, this project I'm getting really, really excited about. The side-by-side game has just gotten unbelievably crazy. I mean, these things are 1,000cc, 170 plus horsepower right out of the box. It feels like you're, you know, in a slingshot. But still, those things are very limited. There's always a belt gonna break, ball joint gonna snap every time you take them out. I just want something totally one of a kind, unique, and indestructible. I got some big ideas, some big plans, and I got 4 really big things on the back of this record to get started with.
What is this? Those are some big tires.
Right? Yeah, 58 inches tall, 24-inch rim. Wow.
Man, what are your plans with this thing?
You know, the side-by-side, but it's definitely limited, right? Well, with these, I want to build something that just pretty much limitless.
That's really scary coming from you. Right. Really scary. So you want to build a buggy from nothing.
We're going to build everything around these tires.
That's going to be fun.
Big shocks, big 4-link with big military axles, so I'll never have to worry about snapping axle or anything like that. All tube chassis and big Cummins diesel in this thing.
Oh,
so,
diesel?
Yeah, just over the top and just indestructible is what I want.
You found the limitations on your Baja truck. You found the limitations on your side-by-side. I know you're going to push this to the limitations.
Well, you know, you got to test everything out to see where those limits are, right?
So does your wife know about this?
You know, Keegan asked me the same thing. She ain't got to know everything. Right?
All right.
You know, most of the time, you're starting out with a car, a truck, lifted, lowered. You got a kind of an idea of what your parameters are. On this specific build, we're starting out with tires. That's it. Pretty pretty much all of this build is in my head. One of the first things when you're designing something like this, it totally depends on the wheelbase, the stance. You know, once you get the tires in place, once those proportions look good, first you get the floor built. You figure out where the engine's gonna be. You figure out where the seats are gonna be. Once that's established, then you start building the cage itself. Then you start building the front end around the engine. Then you start building the rear end around shocks. All that comes into play, and you can only establish that in stages. Once you establish all that, you can actually start cutting some metal and start building. We finished the custom 4 links on the Bronco. Now John and Tim are going to make rear shock towers.
Now, due to having a tall, long travel shock, we have to go higher with the shock mount. So we had to build this hoop that's going to get welded to the frame and raised up about a good 10 inches higher, so the top of the shock come out way up in the truck, which is going to give us the distance we need from here to the axle to accommodate that long travel shock. I do about a ½ inch from the bottom. Now we got our shock tower in place. All we gotta do now is make our shock mounts to attach the shock from here down to the axle.
Are you done now?
So I'm waiting on you. Now I got the shock in place, set up at right height. Now I just gotta add some reinforcements to the shock tower that are gonna go a little something like that and connect it down to the frame. Put me some reference lines up there, get them spaced right. Got cut on that line there. Not only is this gonna give this shock tower a whole lot more strength, but it also has the signature extensive aesthetic with this little step out here on the frame and then the tubing put it up to it. If you see a style like this out on the road, you know this came from Extensive. Ted's gonna abuse the crap out of this Bronco. So he's gonna need some good coilover shocks to go with this heavy duty suspension we're building on it. These ain't your ordinary shocks you go pick up at an auto parts shop. These are designed to take a beating. Anything he wants to drive it through, this shock will handle. We're gonna mock up one of the shocks without the spring. Long travel suspension means that your suspension will articulate a lot more than what a stock suspension would. And in this case, you got 12 inches of suspension travel on this truck. Wish I had 4 of them for my truck. Then I'd paint it and wash it.
Nice. All right, so we got our new foams for Ted's Bronco. These have been modified a little bit. They've got these bolsters made into them to help hold him in the seat a little better. What we're gonna do here, we're gonna take our foams, we're gonna start drawing out our patterns on this so we can get it all figured out and get everything to size. That way we can take that and transfer that from our foam into our material, and then we'll have something to sew together. I'm just transferring my patterns into this chipboard here for my insert. We'll cut this out. So what I'll do is I'll just use these pieces to get everything lined out and drawn out on top of my vinyl. All right, got it all drawn up, everything's laid out. Next thing I'm gonna do, sit down and start sewing. Put some thread in this material. Pretty intricate on this because your last stitch will land exactly on the point where you want to turn, because if you're off on your turn just a little bit, it won't line up with the next line, then your whole pattern gets off. That's done. Now all we gotta do is cut it out. All right, that's one piece of one part to the many parts we have to make, so I gotta get started on this. We'll get everything transferred on the rest and get them all cut out and start sewing them together.
With the new Coyote custom shocks, suspension. It's really important to keep the Bronco running straight. And John's working on that right now.
Now that we're done with the suspension, all we gotta do is add the steering shocks to stabilize the steering. With these big wheels and tires, you need some kind of absorption to absorb all the shock that the tires are gonna be going through. So we're gonna put 2 of these in line, as so, and these are gonna take all the shock out of the steering. So I got my mounts cut out, and these are gonna be placed here, centered with the differential. Now we're gonna mount 2 shocks here, one going this way, one going that way, fixed to the steering. Now we got the shock mount in, shocks mounted, everything's in line. Now we gotta do is make the last final 2 tabs on each end. We're gonna bolt these up to the end of the shock, 21 3/4. That's what we want. We'll tack that, and we'll steer it to the right, tack that side. Now we got the steering shocks on. As you can see, it steers left and right. It's gonna make for a smoother ride while Ted's taking this thing off-roading.
Now that John's finished up with the steering on the Bronco,
You ready to get this body off?
it's time to blow apart the frame and suspension.
We're gonna get this frame moved out of the way, get another dolly in here to set the body on, and get the body over to the body shop. We got the chassis out from underneath the body. We got the shocks off out of the way. It's time to finish welding everything out, since everything's just tacked in place for now. Get that all welded out, get the engine off, and then this will get sent off powder coat.
You know, I've never built before. I want to build an all-tube buggy. Of course, with any project, you want something, you know, pretty much indestructible. You got to start out with some indestructible parts. So I'm gonna meet up with a friend of mine, Charlie. He's got some military trucks in his property, so we're gonna dig around, see what we can come up with to really get this project started. What up, Charlie?
What's going on, Bill?
Man, I need your help. You know, I want to build a buggy, just something I can take anywhere and do anything with, just something totally indestructible. And I know you got those military trucks back there. What better axles to use than those big old deuce and a half?
I got him hid back there in the bushes. It's growed up pretty good, but we're gonna have to get past the guard donkey.
You got a guard donkey?
I carry carrots, so they don't bite you. Me and Bill go way back. We've been friends for about 25 years. They called me. I had a tow truck at the time. I went out there and he had a truck, the airbag blowed out of it.
Man, you really do have a donkey.
Got it up on the truck, got it hauled to the shop, dropped off without any damage to it. We've been friends ever since. Here's a carrot. You're going to have to become his friend before the day is up.
Come here, buddy.
I got a donkey because the donkey is loud. You can pet him, it's barking all the time, but when you hear my donkey holler, you know somebody's in the yard.
Man, he don't look too bad, Charlie. So all you need to do is bring some carrots and
just give
I can have whatever I want, huh?
Yeah,
Cool. Where are these axles at?
back there in the back.
Charlie, you got crap everywhere.
I got a hoarding disorder.
Yeah. That's a totally different show.
This place, I've been here about 20 years. I collect a little bit of everything. I got boats, jet skis, front end loaders, fuel tank, Volkswagens, Jeeps.
What are you gonna do with this?
Thinking about making a restaurant out of it one day. Well, you know, I might make a hunting cabin. The houseboat, I was going to take it out to my place on the lake, but the community rules didn't like the idea of me bringing it up there and making a cabin out of it, so this is as far as it's gotten. Well, here she is.
That's exactly what I need, Charlie. What, he's 2.5 tons?
Yes, sir.
You got a tree growing through this thing. How long has this been back here?
Well, we count the rings on that tree. Tell you how long it's been sitting there.
Well, this is it, man. You know, I can't haul this thing.
No, I'll get the loader and drag it out.
Man, I know you're going to give me a good deal on these things.
I'll figure out something for you to trade out on. You might have to get some carrots from a donkey.
All right. Since these have been operational, so we'll need to fix them up. But these axles are exactly what I need for my buggy. If this isn't a ground up build, I don't know what it is. So far, we have axles and tires for my off-road buggy. Because we're building this from scratch, sourcing the right parts is even more important. And the list, it just keeps growing.
What's up, boss?
What's up, man? Need some parts.
For your buggy? Need a lot of parts.
Got the diesel engine.
Diesel
family. Bring the engine. Bring the trans. We got tires. We need column, steering wheel, seats. Because all of the builds in my head, each part we get just kind of influences the next one. We need wheels. We need big wheels. Gotta have to make them.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have somebody make those.
Yeah. Shocks. We need big shocks.
So like some big 2.5 or a 3 with a big remote reservoir.
Correct.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, you already know. Once we get all the parts, we can go to the next phase of design and start building something we've never built here at the shop before. And we'll get there. I promise you that.
I think that's a manageable list. I think I can knock that out pretty quick.
With this being a personal build and us being as busy as we are, it's going to be slow and steady. You know, I finally want something that will hold up to my driving.
That's a tall order, but
right?
That's what we got to do then.
That's what we're doing.
Right on. I'm with it.
We're doing it.
It's going to be awesome.
While the body guys are finishing up on the 74 Bronco, John's getting that much closer to buttoning up that custom interior.
Got the panels all ready to wrap, and cool idea just turned into a pain in the butt idea.
Let's build Picatinny rails. You know, wrap them in vinyl. I'm gonna start questioning you from now on what these great ideas are.
Working on these door panels, they've been a real pain to get these details, but that's kind of what we do around here, you know. We make it different, try to outdo ourselves. You know, I've never made a Picatinny rail before, much less tried to wrap one. Anybody else? Just like that, the door panel for the Bronco is finished. So all of our time so far has just been spent making pieces and patterns and panels and all that good stuff. So now all we're gonna do is sit down here and put it all together. We wanted to personalize these a little bit for Ted. Had the embroidery shop embroider his logo directly onto it. It's gonna look pretty cool on top of the seat. All right, that's the last pieces of the covers for Ted's truck. Test fit these, just make sure they fit just right. The logo turned out really nice up here. Gives us a nice personal touch. Everything worked out good. The lines are nice and neat and straight. Get this thing buttoned up. We'll get them in the truck and we'll be just about done.
Ted said he wanted stray away from the black. He wanted some color this time. And he said he wanted some, you know, like a bronzy kind of coppery color. So I'm looking through little color chips to kind of see what would look cool. I'm definitely feeling the copper color, but finding that right one is always difficult. We're getting close, or I think that right there, I think that's it right there. The perfect color for Ted's Bronco. Every color kind of plays upon the wheels, tires, the stance. You know, when it's picking color for myself, nothing to it. Hey, I like that color. But when you're picking a color for someone else, especially Ted Nugent, you want to make sure it's right for sure. All the metal fabrication, all the interior, all the wheels, tires, suspension, all that is void if the color isn't right. So this is a crucial stage in any build. I think probably a black roof along with glossy black suspension, maybe color match bead locks on the wheels. That'd just totally make for not only a huge transformation, but just something that just looks mean, and Ted's gonna be happy to be seen in this. Ted said he wanted to transform this Bronco into a beast. And seeing the rolling chassis come together, new wheels, tires.
Too good, right there.
You know, I don't think you could call it anything else except a beast.
There is a Bronco cult, and I may be the czar of the Bronco cult. I'm not just the Motor City madman because someone thought I was. I really am. I was born in Detroit in '48, and you add the horsepower Detroit guy to a bow hunting outdoor maniac like me, and by the time I got my first Bronco in 1970, I thought I was like Mickey Thompson and Bill Strop and Parnelli Jones at the Baja. Even though I was only in a swamp in the Michigan woods, those off-road races were the research and development of what we now enjoy, even with the brand new Broncos coming out. There's Bronco Dreams, and then there's Texas Metal Extensive Bronco Dreams. I can't wait to get behind the wheel and just go nuts.
74 Bronco. But before we give it back, I want to surprise Ted with one more detail that I know he'll love.
That's a whole lot better place than the hood. That's pretty cool. Freedom Eagle.
We've been working on this Bronco for him for quite some time. It's a huge journey, a lot of work. And today is the day we find out how good we did. If we did all right, or if it's Ted Nugent approved.
Bill, good to see you.
Man, good to see you, man. Good to see you.
I can't wait to see what you've done to my girl. I have these big dreams.
You know, I'd be lying if I say I'm not nervous right now about what you think about your truck, because I know you have such extensive history
Yes.
with Broncos, and I know you know every nut and bolt on a Bronco.
I do, yeah. I might know the history of Broncos, but I'm looking forward to the future of the extensive Bronco, because I have a funny feeling that this is unprecedented. And if you would please bring me my girl ASAP before I go nuts.
I'm ready to show you this. We've been all working hard.
Begin.
Let's check it out.
Oh, look at my girl. Look at my girl. Bill, you're my man. You're my Bronco daddy. Oh, praise the mighty Bronco. This is a dream come true, Bill. And thank you so much. This is exactly what I envisioned. Say hallelujah, Bronco cult everywhere. It sounds beautiful, it looks beautiful, it smells beautiful. Wow. Congratulations, gentlemen. You're my Bronco czars. I'm glad you don't play guitar. I'd have to quit. You pushed my limits. You beat the living out of me, man. This is, I just love this.
His reaction totally sealed the deal. We know we did a good job. First thing, you know, it was a nice truck, but we had to get it up on the lift and just rip everything out.
Yep.
Everything is 100% brand new.
The long four-link bars, extended travel coilover shocks, so you can take this thing through anything and ride comfortably.
Michigan swamps haven't got a prayer. I see it all. The custom bumpers, the lights, the roof rack is just unbelievable. With all their unique, creative, original classic Bronco image, but you fortified and augmented it. It's Bronco art. It's got that burnt orange copper bronze thing going on. And you even got the matching bronze on the axles and the pigs.
With the black suspension, you know, black frame. You want a little color down underneath there,
Yes,
right?
this color combination is absolutely perfect. And the word perfect is so rare nowadays.
Ted, I know you're going to be spending a lot of time in it.
I will.
Check this out.
Let's check it out. Oh boy. Look at this. Are you kidding me? Look at my new home on wheels. How beautiful is that?
We couldn't leave well enough alone, right? So we just ripped everything down to the sheet metal, upgraded Everything. The seats, the headliner, the door panels. Oh, we just had to incorporate.
Great touch, man. Those look like Nugentized door panels to me. Perfect. The more you can Nugentize, the better life you have. You've really checked off all the boxes. This is going to be my daily driver. It's not a show truck, but it's a go truck that happens to be a show truck. And I'm not going to treat it too tenderly. I will respect your artistry, but she's going to be a workhorse.
I know you had to keep the Eagle. We had to keep the Eagle.
Had to keep the Eagle.
But, you know, we kept it. And it's here with it. You can touch it at all times.
You made a great decision, man. Thank you so much.
Well, if you like this, wait till you see under the hood.
I can't wait to see under the hood. I love under the hood. It's all awesome, but I have a funny feeling this is going to be my favorite.
Me too.
Oh my God. I don't think that's legal in Detroit. That is so beautiful. Look at that.
The engine that came in here, it was all right.
That's nice.
Nothing compared to the new Coyote, especially with the supercharger on. Max tune, you're probably about 7.
That'll do.
Pushing a little over 7.
That'll do. That'll get me where I'm going. To get this beast in an old Bronco. Congratulations. You guys
One thing we wanted to do for you was leave everything you need accessible.
Right.
But everything else is all under the panels, so you don't see none of that. Out of sight, out of
It's
mind.
an engineering masterpiece. Again, this is the way everybody should do it. That engine compartment is so clean and so efficient. What he does to the engine bay, it's literally artwork. I had visions and outrageous ideas, but you guys actually kicked my ass. I'm going to go to these old Bronco rallies, and the rest of the Broncos are going to part like the Red Sea.
Well, let's go for a ride.
Let's go for a ride. I'm driving.
We all put 100% old truck. It's a huge honor for myself and my team to put our skills, our passion, and our just love for what we do into a project like this. You know, it doesn't get better than that. I've done a couple things to her to make her stand out. Like, you're about to see.
Did you steal the wife's car?
Yeah, we gotta get it down on the ground.
We're going to be the first ones to have a Pro-Charged 2021 Escalade.
Most people want to keep it as quiet as they can. Not Bill. Authorized sound and Escalade.
So this is a 46 Ford Coupe.
Recover the seat, little dash pad, be good. When I say everything, this is everything. I want to drop it all the way on the ground. The air suspension on it, late model 5.0 in this thing. It's a total surprise for Ryan's dad.
Total surprise.
She looks really pretty.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
My old friend Ryan called me. He said he got a new project for us to do it. His family owns a company that builds and sells records. In fact, his dad started the business back in the 70s. Ryan, what's up, man?
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for coming out, Bill.
Yeah, man, yeah.
Got this project for you here.
These the ones you're talking about?
We're going to start with this one here.
What year is this thing?
So this is a 46 Ford Coupe, and my dad bought it back in 86 when he turned 40. Tore it apart about 15 years ago, and here we sit. Same spot.
Oh, man. You know, I've heard this story a million times. A shop takes in the car, tears it apart, there it sits for years, and they never finish it.
I need somebody to put it back together.
Yeah?
Something special.
How old's your dad now?
74.
Does he know about this?
Knows nothing about this project. He does so much for everybody else in the community.
Yeah,
Gives his shirt off his back. Doesn't do anything for himself, so it's time to give back.
Man, that's awesome.
So-
I'm in on it. You know, I've never had one of these in the shop. It's going to be a first for us, but man, I've always admired these. You know, just looking at this car, it's going to be a cool car, but to have somebody, you know, think of you the way Ryan's thinking of his dad, that's a cool gift.
Looking for something that he can drive to the show, not only just for trailer queens, but he can get down on the highway and do 80, cold AC.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. We'll make it something he can burn the tire. Lot of trophies.
That sounds good. This car used to be called Blue Thunder when he got it. You know how they used to nickname their cars?
Oh, yeah?
So we need to do something with that.
So it's got to be blue.
Yes, sir. Got to be blue. We're looking for a dark metallic blue that pops blue when the sun hits it. Looks a little darker at night.
This is a cool, iconic body style, but this thing's got to sit right. So we're going to start out by building air suspension on this thing to get it really, really low to the ground with the right wheels and tires and get that stance perfect. Man, what you got under the hood of this? Is there air?
Let me just show you.
Oh, man. We can't have nothing in here like this, man.
Got an old 350 Chevy in it, so that's wrong right off the bat.
I mean, that's definitely going to come out and just start fresh with a new 5.0 in this thing.
Ooh.
Man, when he pushes on the gas pedal, man, he's going to be happy.
That's what we need. You know, I can't wait for my father to have that smile on his face that he has for everybody else, but this time for himself.
Let's see what the interior looks like in there. Should I say lack thereof? Oh, yeah. Recover the seat, little dash pad, be good. No, man, there's nothing in here we can use.
You know, Bill, I know you got the outside all figured out and stuff. Then inside, take it to the next level.
Just taking it to the next level would be very hard on this interior. I want your old man to get this thing back, open the door, and sit down in here and just feel like he's 40 again. Because he might have a heart attack on this one.
But this will stop him taking those little blue pills, so we'll be all right.
Yeah, you won't need them no more after this, right?
We snuck you in while he's out at the races. Let me get it over to your place, and then we'll go from there. Sounds
Get
great.
Back rolling. I love that Ryan's giving something back to his dad. You know, not just anything, a custom 46 Ford. It's just that little extra that's going to make this cool old car even more badass. You know, most people see a car like this and go, man, look at that cool old car. But for me, when I see an old car like this, all I can think about is how many hours it's going to take to make this thing cool. You know, there's a lot of differences in customizing a new car versus an old car. A new car, you don't have to worry about lining up body panels. You don't have to worry about, you know, the hood latching correctly. I mean, you put wheels and tires, do your thing on it, slam the door, go about your business. So, you know, an old car, just the opposite. You have to address every single part on a car. There's going to be hours just getting the hinges lined up. There's going to be hours getting the window regulators working properly. There's going to be hours of just getting the window felt in. I mean, nobody ever sees you do this thing. There's only one thing to do. Quit talking about it and get to it.
Whoa! Has this thing always been back here?
You don't get out of the office much, do you?
No.
It's a total surprise for Ryan's dad.
It's a hell of a surprise.
Right? You know, I want to get this thing in the shop and blow it totally apart. We got to make this thing really low. I want to do air suspension on it. I want to put 20s on the front, 22s on the back, maybe a 22s on the front. I'll just kind of see how it looks. Once it's up on the lid, we'll see if there's anything underneath we can salvage.
Find out what's underneath all this.
Yeah, I'm really nervous, man. This thing, you can tell the bodywork's been done a long time ago, and there's a lot of it on here, so it's going to take a lot of work.
This thing's already got Blue Thunder on the back. Are you staying with blue on this?
It'd be sacrilegious to change that, right? You know, we got to bring old Blue Thunder into the 21st century. You know, this engine definitely ain't gonna cut it. It's got a Chevy engine now. You don't want that. We're on a late model 5.0, 6-speed transmission, new wiring harness, pedal, column, radiator hoses. When I say everything, this is everything.
So for the interior, looks pretty complete. It's got an awesome seat in there.
I'm gonna take this out. But everything other than that, you know, there's nothing there. So new bucket seats, bench seat in the back, of course, stereo equipment. Get with John, see what kind of equipment we need. Let's get it ordered, get the carpet, get the headliner, get the window felt, window regulators, one-piece side glass.
We're building the whole car, everything ground up, 100%.
Man, that's exactly what we're gonna do. This thing's gonna require everybody in the shop. There's nothing on here that we're not gonna handle.
There's a whole process after process on this. Let's call it blue process.
Well, let's get to the first process, getting this thing in, get to it.
Got it.
Let's do it. This car's been sitting around rusting for who knows how long. So we'll start by getting up on the lift just to see how long our to-do list is. Ooh, look at that. Had intentions of just doing suspension on this, but after looking at this frame, it's got to go. Our transmission is going to be a lot bigger. It's a big 6-speed transmission, so it's way bigger. So we'd have to cut all this out to make room. The easiest thing to do is just get rid of this old frame and just go over to the just unbolt the body, get it off the blast, and we'll get the body shop guys busy for a while. Me and Timmy, we thought we were just going to be able to salvage this.
That's like demoing a whole house to build a new one, but leaving the cracked slab. Want a good foundation to start with. If not, it's just going to be problems down the road. Now we have the body separated from the chassis. We're going to roll the chassis out. Fasten the body to a body cart. We'll send this off to get media blasted, and we'll see how it looks when it comes back from media blast.
I can really appreciate a surprise like Ryan's going to do for his dad with this coupe. I surprised my wife Jennifer by customizing her cars a few times. I might have gone a little bit too big for her taste, but she's got a new truck, and I'm ready to try one more time.
Did you steal the wife's car?
Yeah. I want to surprise her. I want to do a couple things to it. She calls it Betty, so I want to get Betty hooked up.
So is this going to be a little surprise, or one of your SEMA take her car, or taking a SEMA 2-week surprise?
And then I was like, I'll just take it to the shop and fix a little dent on the back. And 2 weeks later, it was in Vegas at the SEMA show, totally repainted, full interior stereo. She wasn't too happy. Couldn't haul groceries in the back anymore, but I think we got to get it down on the ground.
I knew that. I knew for you to say it. I knew exactly what you were going to say.
I mean, look at that fender well gap there. Man, that's way, way, way too big, right? We'll drop it down probably about 6 inches. Just a little bit, about 6 inches. Fill that up with a nice big wheel and tire. And, we just can't have a 22, 24. We got to have a big wheel and tire, right?
Something to separate it from the rest, but still make it drivable. They didn't even have a kit to lower this?
Man, that's what we do. So we got an empty rack. We'll just pull it in, pull the wheels off, see what happens. I mean, we might even get it on there and just decide just to put air suspension on it and get it down really, really low.
That's the bill, I know. I don't know of a better way to say I love you and thank you than dropping her new Escalade to the ground, put some big wheels on it, and making her stand out.
That's an extensive way, right?
Yeah.
Good-looking stance with the right wheel and tire, it just gives it that attitude, that aggressive classiness. Set her apart from, all the other soccer moms, and feel special the whole time she's driving. It won't be another one like it. She works hard every day, pretty much takes care of the kids because we always work late, getting home late. We're going to get her hooked up.
It definitely takes a lot to put up with what we do. It's a good call.
Yeah, she's been needing a little surprise lately.
She married you, she has to like surprises.
So what are we doing to Mom's truck? We're going to lift it really high. Just big 44s on it. Make it real easy for her to get in and out of.
Oh, yeah.
She'll love it. No, I want to give her something that's cool, right? Back since the beginning of Extensive, I've always kind of experimented with my wife Jennifer's cars.
So is this going to be like Mom's last car? Or last surprise?
No. I don't know what we're going to do yet. See how difficult this is. This is all new platform underneath. I heard it's independent rear suspension now, so we're about to find out. With her 2021 Escalade, I want it to be custom and cool. But, you know, maybe just a little more understated than I have in the past. You know, me and Jennifer have been together since before the beginning of Extensive Metal Works, so she's been around the car game just as long as I have. You know, as soon as Jennifer gets this back, she sees all the time and effort we put into it, how cool it looks. That's definitely going to put a smile on her face. You know, on the 2021 Escalade, it's been totally redesigned. This is 100% brand new, top to bottom, and it's unfamiliar territory for us. It's crazy how much cars have come in the last 5 years, 10 years. But, you know, that's part of it. This is definitely a learning experience, and, you know, you grow with the technology in a car, advancing with it every year. We want to stay up with the latest and greatest and be ahead of the curve.
What'd you figure out?
Just lowering springs, we got to change that out. You know, we'll put new coils on it so it just drops it down, gets rid of that big fender well gap, you know, with a nice wheel and tire. It's going to fill all that up and to keep it all black too. Yeah, that's going to set the whole aggressive tone to it, right? And speaking of tone, muffler, you got to change that tone too. It's a 6.2 in this, and you can't really tell it any different from a Tahoe that's got a 5.3 in it. So those restrictors and opens it up a little bit. You got to make it look good, you got to make it sound good, and you got to make it run good. We need the Pro Charger.
Y'all are definitely two peas in a pod. Both of y'all want to go fast.
You know, there's nothing available for this. It's so new, so Justin will have to build whatever it needs. And these little steps can't have the pontoon look, right? We got to get rid of those. Put the retractable steps on so it looks nice, clean, streamlined, lower the ground.
Man, I'm not gonna lie. When you first told me you're gonna surprise her, I was a little nervous myself because I've been a couple of these surprises and they go off the chart sometimes.
You know, most of the time I would really go for the full air suspension, lay it on the ground. But, you know, I want to make something that's perfect for her. So I have Tim and Dave changing out the springs.
First thing we're gonna do the Escalade is get the stance right. We're gonna take the struts out, put new springs on this thing, and we put it back together. It's gonna lower the vehicle but still give you the same ride. So this basically holds the truck up in the air, and the shock dampens it. So when you hit a bump, it doesn't keep bouncing. By getting a new coil spring that's a little bit lower, it's gonna lower this down to say right about here somewhere. It should be about 1.5 to 2 inches lower.
What we're going to be doing is if you don't have this specialty tool, you should probably not try and do this at all. It's pretty dangerous, you know, to be messing with something that's compressed and has a lot of pressure in it. We'll be able to loosen this nut up here and remove the shock. So the only thing we're going to be changing out is the spring to lower the ride height. We will reuse this and the boot. Only thing aftermarket should be just the spring.
Lowering springs for you, sir. You should bring it down a little bit, tighten up that wheel gap, make it sit right.
Now we gotta work on it.
Yeah, you do.
Later, bud. Later, bud. Want to make it a little more sporty, bring it down just a little bit, but not enough that every time she goes over something, she's got to hit a bump or she's got to worry about rubbing it off. Now we have all the springs mounted. We're going to bolt them on the truck. One step closer.
And it's in bad a shape as we thought. Before the body shop guys get their hands full with the body, the owner wants us to get it all the way on the ground with a full custom air suspension. You know, it's part of the surprise for his dad. You know, it's exciting to get a new project in, a new frame started, and just to build somebody's dreams. Everything to start starts with the frame. Let's see what we got here. 32. It's on the money. You know, it brings you back to being a little kid and building that first little model. I mean, that's basically what we do every day. Get to bring back our childhood memories of building all that cool stuff, but now we get to do it for real. We got our measurements here, 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 and that'll do it. So I got all the measurements I need. I'm gonna transfer them right on a drawing that we have on the table. You can see actually in real time how the frame's gonna look. So there's no mistakes on mismeasuring. We're gonna go right off our templates, transfer them right to the saw, start chopping, start putting together. Got it, man, that's all laid out.
You know what the thing looks like? 46 Ford frame.
Rule of thumb here is cut everything in twos, two sides of the frame. So we're gonna make two cuts same time, so they're exactly the same. I guess the difference between building a custom frame and an OEM frame would be you could put things in different places for clearance issues, and definitely cool factors. You know, you can make things different because of the cool. Now I got all the pieces cut and beveled. Now it's time to go ahead and start assembling this frame.
They're looking good, nice, square, level. This thing is gonna be right. So now we're off to mocking up the suspension. You know, on the 46 Ford, we're gonna build a 2-link suspension with air. You know, I prefer a 2-link suspension on a vehicle like this, just because you can, on this, we're shooting for about 11 inches of lift, so you get a lot of lift out of it with a really nice ride quality. And the other advantage of the 2-link is with it bolted super tight with the U-bolts, it doesn't allow it to sway like a 4-link suspension and have to compensate with sway bars. That's why we're going with a 2-link on this versus a 4-link or other types of suspension.
Just trying to make sure the front of the 2 links are even and equal, the same height. So I'm putting my flat bar right here, basically as a leg. So I'm gonna go ahead and clamp it, and I'll be able to manipulate this height-wise. I need 9 7/8 on this side, so I'll be able to adjust this up to 9 7/8 on this side. It's a lot of measuring, a lot of looking across everything, make sure everything's parallel, everything's even. But taking all this time to do all that, I'll pay off in the end because everything will be perfect. Everything's gonna be straight and true. That's exactly what we're looking for.
As big as a frame build is, the interior in the coupe is non-existent. So John's starting from less than 0.
Yes, this car has absolutely no interior in it. I think when it came in, it had a folding chair maybe in it. That's actually kind of the fun of this. It is, with it being a blank canvas, there's nothing there that dictates what it has gone, so we get to pick where everything's at and place things where we want it and do our own design in it. I've got a template for my kick panel, a template for the door panel, and for the rear quarter panel. Everything's marked off where they line up together in the car so that everything has the same height that I need, so I can sketch this out to get all my patterns laid out so that everything will fit. Bill's thought and his idea is he wants Dad to get in his car and sit down and feel like he's still in his old hot rod. He doesn't want anything too new and too outlandish in this. He wants nice, clean, subtle lines in this. We want to get this thing just a nice, clean, classy feel so when he sits in it, he can feel like he's back in the old days. It's kind of one of those great things working around here. A lot of times we're just given free will to do whatever we want, so to be able to sit down and think it out and dream up something just different than everybody else's is really what makes this job so much fun. All the way from the beginning aspect, all the way to the headaches that you have, all the way to the end of it until it's finished. Every bit of it makes it fun because you get to design everything from your own ideas and your own perspectives. Erase, delete. Good thing about these sketches, it's all fluid, so it's constantly changing, so you're never stuck to one thing if you got an eraser. And that's going to be a tall ridge here. So this is our insert fabric that we're going to use just for our accent color. That's going to be going here in our doors and also here. Plus we'll have it worked into the seats, so it's just that little extra pop, just so it's not all the same fabric in the whole car. So now it's time to bring Blue Thunder back to life.
We got the stance on my wife's 21 Escalade just right. Now I want to give it a better overall tone.
Bill wants to get rid of this stock muffler. It works from the factory. Most people want to keep it as quiet as they can. Not Bill. It doesn't have the rumble he's looking for.
The wrecker.
You know, this new muffler blows a lot better than the factory does. It gives a little throatier sound. Jennifer's going to love it. What school teacher wouldn't love pulling up your parking lot with a hot rod sounding Escalade? So what I'm doing right now, I'm going to go ahead and tack this first one. That way I can make sure it's square with the frame this way. And then I'll know, not only do I need this to go over, I also need it to come down. So it's got to be like a 45 down and 45 over to one direction. Basically what I'm doing right now is trying to figure out a little jig so I know how to bend it. So I don't have to make 52 trips to the truck and back. I can just make me a little deal here. So I measure from this line down is 2 inches. So if I take 2 inches out of this right here, it should give me exactly what I need. According to the jig, this should flow exactly where I need it. Give me an exact angle this way and this way. When it fits good, now I do is weld it up. Bill's wife's got a brand new sports car sounding Escalade.
My wife's a little like me. She likes to give her vehicles a little extra horsepower. So I asked Justin to add a Pro Charger. Because this truck is so new, he's going to have to figure out the whole setup.
It's pretty neat that we're going to be the first ones to have a Pro Charge 2021 Escalade. Like, nobody's worked on one of these. Like, they don't make a kit out for it yet, so we're going to come up with we should see anywhere between 150 to 200 extra rear wheel horsepower on this thing once we get it tuned. We're going to try to squeeze the intercooler through here without removing the grill. So this one here is their what you would call like a stage 2 intercooler. So if you look at the thickness of the core, it's about a ½ inch wider than the one that would come in your base model kit. This one here is gonna provide a lot better cooling for the extra air we're about to shove in this motor. We're running into clearance issues, these air louvers right here. So since it's such a large intercooler and such a tight space, to be on the safe side, instead of trying to force it in there, we're going to go ahead and remove the bumper and remove the support so that we can just drop it right into place. With this being a 2021, it's the first time pulling one of these bumpers off, so it can be a little time consuming. You know, you don't want to get in a hurry. You want to make sure that, you know, you get all the hardware out. You know, it's easy to, you know, miss a bolt here and there. And the last thing you want to do is piss off Bill's wife. So we need to make sure that we take our time and do it right the first time. There we go.
Just to fit the brackets on the supercharger. It's taking a bit more work, but it'll all be worth it in the end.
So that's what happens when you're dealing with a new vehicle. Something, you know, seems as simple as taking a bumper off can eat up most of your time. So this here is our supercharger. It's the P1X, their high output version. So now that we have the blower installed, all we gotta do is connect from our blower to our intercooler, from our intercooler to our throttle body. So the reason we use the rubber couplers instead of everything hardline is because you have vibrations of the motor, and whenever it torques over, it'll want to move. So you need to have movement. So that's why we're going with all these rubber couplers. So right now we're putting the belt on. We're trying to adjust the tensioner to make sure that we have the most amount of tension, but also where the tensioner is within range, because you don't want it maxed out where it's too tight, where the tensioner is not doing its job, and at the same time you don't want it too loose. So we're just fine tuning it right now to make sure we have it set right. Next step is to get our fan shroud back in. Once our fan shroud goes back in, then we get to start doing some of the custom piping and getting this thing wrapped up.
We have the rear suspension on the coupe all mocked up. Now we can make the custom bag mounts. Let's block it back up. Even something just as simple as a gusset for the upper bag mount. I mean, somebody just looking at it just looks like a piece of pipe, but you got to take into consideration where the shock's going to be, where the differential's going to be, where the air fitting's going to be. You want to make sure it's right. You want to take your time to notch it right, cope it right, sand it right, and attach it right. Done daily. On this particular chassis, we're going to use a diagonal link, which mounts a fixed point of the frame over to the moving part of the suspension itself, and it keeps everything 100% true all the way up, all the way down. There's no deflection of that whatsoever. We're able to build that into this suspension because there's nothing in the way. A lot of the times there'll be a gas tank in the way or exhaust in the way, or a lot of things could be in the way once you're building a suspension around something that's already there. The advantage of this is it's going to stay nice, true, straight up and down, and perfect. Back in 46, these coupes didn't have much of a speaker system, so John's going to bring the audio into this century, but he's also going to keep it with this classic look.
They didn't have subwoofers in 46, so what we're going to do is actually take and disguise that subwoofer. So basically, when you pop the trunk and look in, all you'll see sitting there is a suitcase and think it's a piece of luggage. You'll never even know that it's a subwoofer. For the corners of the suitcase, I want them to be rounded, so in order to do that, I'm going to take the PVC and cut it into quarters. That way I can use those as the corners of the box and then just glass them from the inside. It's kind of like making oatmeal. Put a little water in your bowl, put a little bit of oatmeal in there, stir it up. You don't want your oatmeal too lumpy. Martha Stewart, eat your heart out. All we're doing with this is just reinforcing our PVC corners. So the first step we're going to take to make this thing look like a suitcase, we're going to use a scoop bit. We're going to run around the outside edge of the top, a little bit on the bottom, nice rounded over corners. We can do the body work. Take this fiberglass filler here, hit my outside corners, get them smoothed in. Just got to give these corners a little bit of love, get it good round and smooth. Next thing we'll do, cut some lines in this, put some grooves in it. Don't mess it up. Really got to take our time to make sure we don't screw this up. And it could turn into a whole remake, and ain't nobody got time for that. I have confidence in myself. Oh God, I moved it. We'll also have to add a groove to the top edge and the bottom edge for all the material to roll into. So we're just going to take and work our way around the box, rolling it, flipping it to get our groove in it. All right, now we've got all the grooves cut in it. This thing's really starting to look like a suitcase. So the next thing I gotta do, just sit down, do a little bit of detail sanding on it. This thing will be ready to wrap.
Custom frame and suspension for the 46 Ford on the table. Now it's time to get it up underneath the body. Winter's coming along. I mean, it's really starting to take shape. We got all the old yuckiness out. So from the firewall back, 100% true square straight. But I found the easiest way to build chassis like this is locating the front cross member. Once that's located, you know the height you want, that locates our wheelbase.
141 and 3/4 or 16 too far.
Hammer's right there.
That's it.
So we we have this dead center of the fender wells. Now that we have our front end on, we know where that center is. Next step is just connecting the cross member all the way down the frame. This car is gonna run unbelievable, ride really good, and really low. It's at the perfect stage to really start creating. Normally we know exactly what we need to install the Pro Charger, but with the 21 Escalade being so new, Justin has to reinvent the entire wheel on this one.
So with the supercharger, we're gonna have pressure inside the pipe, and the last thing we wanna do is we're putting a bead roll on the end of the pipe so that the silicone coupler, whenever we clamp it, doesn't wanna slide off under boost. This is the flange for the blow-off valve. Typically, it would tie back into the inlet pipe to the supercharger. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna vent it to the atmosphere so we got that cool swishing sound. Now we got our 3.5-inch aluminum prep. We got our hole drill for our mass airflow sensor flange. The mass air and the O2 sensors work together, so if we dump off any air to the atmosphere, throw off our O2 sensors and the computer won't read right. So now that we have our blow-off valve flange on, our mass air flange on, and our extension piece that goes into our coupler, now we can go install it on the vehicle. We can go ahead and pre-install our new blow-off valve. They actually sound better on supercharged cars, because on a turbo car, they only open up just under like acceleration. On a supercharged car, it's the opposite. It's open all the time until you give it gas, and then it'll close, and that's how you kind of hear more of that swishing sound. So now that we got the flange welded on, we got the 2 screws to hold in our sensor into our piping, just like we wanted. We can install our charge pipe and put some clamps on, and Life's definitely gonna have the fastest SUV in the faculty parking lot now.
The best days at work are always with a dog. If I do set up a table for me, and this guy happens to use it for a bed, I'll put my stuff on the floor. You should just lay there and do nothing. I gotta go work. We got this 2021 Escalade in the shop. It's already a good looking truck. It was good looking off the factory floor. But Bill being Bill, it always needs something. These steps just aren't gonna cut it. So he wants a retractable step. When you open the door, it folds down. When you shut the door, this will tuck back up, fold away, and you'll never see the step at all. It's gonna make it look sleek, and it gives it a custom touch. First step we're gonna do, just unbolt the old step, take it completely off, get it out of the way, and then we'll start with the new one. This motor here will go to a door pin. When the door opens, it lets us know this needs to come down. When the door shuts, it retracts this back up. See how hands-on my helper is? That's a good helper right there. The new plastics have a little indentation right here, so when this folds up, it tucks right in tight and it makes it disappear. Now we have the plastics on there that allow the step to go up, and it'll fold right with the new plastic. It looks better, it functions better, and it's easier for little ones or old ones to get in and out.
You know, I'd be lying if I wasn't a little nervous to see what Jennifer thinks. But I think this time, we nailed it. You know, her Escalade's still classy, but custom, just the way she likes it. You know, well, I hope. You know, as you know, I got a long history of customizing cars, and something you might not know, I have a long history of customizing my wife's cars too. The thing I got her was a Cadillac SRX. Took it to the Las Vegas SEMA show and killed it. The bad part about it was getting it home. It had so many speakers, there was no place to put the groceries, so she hated it. Every time I cut into one of my wife's cars, I'll always have the best intentions, always one riding around in. You know, that's the feeling I get when I drive around in a cool car. I want her to have that same feeling. And my wife driving a totally bone stock car, it just hurts. It hurts seeing that. It's kind of like, you know, if I was a roofer, my roof was leaking, that's something you just can't have. You know, I've been known to maybe go a little overboard here and there, but, you know, one of these days, I'm going to come up with that perfect combination for her that you're just going to totally love. Thank you for lunch.
No problem.
Thank you, thank you. Hey, I want to tell you something. Remember, you know, I took the Cadillac in, had a recall, and I took it from you?
Mm-hmm.
It didn't really have a recall. I want to surprise you with something special. So I took Betty, and I've done a couple things to her to make her stand out.
Like?
Well, you're about to see. You ready? You excited?
No.
Timmy's going to bring it around right now.
This is not the first time that Bill's taken one of my cars. We've had some cars where he has taken them and he's done things to them and they have not turned out well. That's a little stressful for me. Okay, so not so bad. I'm very proud. I appreciate you listening. It looks awesome.
Surprise!
Yeah, no. Beautiful.
Are you pleasantly surprised?
I'm pleasantly surprised. Thank you. I'm pleasantly surprised. She looks beautiful.
So I did good?
So far. I don't know. There might be more. I don't know. From what I can see right here, yes.
Here's a little more.
She rides the same.
Better. You know, the first thing you notice when coming down the road, you know, Betty just looked way too tall. So what we had to do is get it in the shop and we changed out the springs. You know, took it all apart, took the cool springs out and replaced it with the shorter spring to give it that low stance, to get rid of that fender well gap. And, I mean, you got it all blacked out already. You had to have the black wheels.
Of course. Now, if I had to pick wheels, that would be something that I would pick. They're very clean, very pretty, very nice.
Yeah. And it's still going to retain that factory Cadillac ride. Classy.
Oh, the runners. Oh, I knew you were going to do that. It looks beautiful. It looks beautiful.
Can't have that old pontoon look. Just to give it that clean, streamlined look.
I'm going to cry.
You know, after 28 years together, you know, every once in a while you got to show your appreciation, right? And you show your appreciation in giving your wife something really cool to drive.
You did good. You did good. I will never say it again.
I was surprised as you were when Bill said, nope, we're going to go just a couple miles on this one.
They haven't always turned out as well.
Let's check out under the hood. I got a little surprise under there for you.
Okay. Oh, wow.
You know, they don't make a kit for this. So Justin adapted everything and made the whole ProCharger work on this.
So all this is custom?
Yep, every bit. It runs real good.
It's very nice.
You're about 620 horsepower now. So Betty is going to get it. You're definitely going to make up some time and have plenty of extra leisure time now.
Cool.
I knew you were going to love it.
Yep, it's awesome. It sounded pretty.
Yeah, it sounds good. It had a little whistle to it. You needed that. Just way too quiet from the factory. I mean, looking at it, it's got to have a little deeper tone to the exhaust, so you get that whole attitude. When you roll up...
Oh, she's definitely going to draw some attention.
Most definitely.
It's nice.
I'm glad you like it. I think we did good. If she was making this car herself, I think we gave her exactly what she...
This is really nice. You did a great job, and I'm very flattered. And all the other teachers are going to be really jealous. Beautiful.
Just like you.
Oh, my gosh.
Is a 2017 F-150 pull-out with this engine. The 5.0 Coyote is a great platform for making a lot of power. We're going to change a couple things. We're going to change intake, put headers on it, and with the tune and E85, it should make about an extra 100 rear-wheel horsepower. So this thing's going to make plenty of power for old Coop. How do you start stretching every day, all day? On the really big jobs like the 46 Coupe, you just know it's going to be a marathon. Ow.
So we're stripping down the engine, taking all the old stuff off, stuff we're not going to use.
Every step you take, there's 100 more to go.
We like to recycle. Just like going to pick up old dogs, we get old motors.
We got a good steering. Next step's finishing up the front suspension. Keep going on the body work and make that interior all from scratch. But man, once Ryan's dad sees the old Blue Thunder, this is definitely going to be something like he's never seen before.
Oh, man!
Man, this thing is a 2021 F450 King Ranch. What could you possibly want to do to it?
It needs to haul our show trucks to car shows.
The truck drives by,
I want Steve to go, dang, look at that right there. We got to go a little bit bigger than I was originally anticipating.
This thing is a beast.
You know, a few months back, old Blue Thunder was just a shell of a vehicle. There's a lot of work involved to bring it up to 2021 standards.
We want to make sure that this thing still has that classy look, that classy feel to it.
This is not like anything we've ever built before.
That is way bigger than I thought you guys were going to build it.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
Foot a little heavy getting out of the truck there?
You know, got to test out the new tires, you know, straight from the dealership. You gotta break them in.
So, man, you finally found one, huh?
Yeah.
I know you've been looking for a minute trying to get one.
These aren't easy to find these days, for sure. You know, it's time for a new shop vehicle. Man, it feels like we go through one every couple years. I need something that will pull a new trailer that will haul multiple cars at once. You know, the F450 is the perfect platform for what we do around here.
Man, this thing is a 2021 F450 King Ranch. What could you possibly want to do to it? Like, what's wrong with it?
Man, it's a really, really nice truck, but I can't be riding around stock like this. I can't do it. Customization is in my blood. This is what we live and breathe every day. I cringe when I'm driving down the road in a stock vehicle. I mean, that's not me. So I'm thinking, you know, it needs a couple of little small upgrades. Just a real small, super small lift, and maybe just a little upgraded tires. A little bit bigger, a little bit wider, nothing crazy.
Bill Carlton that I know wasn't ever happy with 19.5s. In 2000, you had to get semi wheels and turn them down. Then you had to get the Hummer and put the biggest wheel on it. Then your lifted truck had the biggest 30x16s. And this one we're going to do just a little bit bigger?
Just a little. We're way too busy to build a bunch of crazy stuff on it. So just a little bit higher, a little bit nicer wheel and tire, just a little bit taller, a little wider.
So the biggest wheel and tire possible.
Man, just a little bit bigger.
I'll make sure we're on the same page here, and you are hearing what you're saying. You want to do a little lift and a little upgrade on wheel and tires.
That's it.
Okay. I'll go ahead and open the bay door, and we'll get in the air. We'll get ready. We may have to put on the bigger bay, because I know it may not fit out that door after the big lift and wheels and tires. I'm going to open the door.
You know, I've been a fan of the F-Series trucks for quite some time. As soon as the new 2021 came out, you know, I definitely had my eye on it. You know, as much as I like these trucks, there's always something that just sticks out in your head that you don't like about it. So, you know, that's what I want to do. Just get it in the shop and put my custom touches on it. And just when I buy a car, you know, that's the first thing I want to do is just tearing it all out and just starting over. Just see what we can do to make it cool, make it stand out, you know, make it different. And really, that's what Extensive is all about, making a bone stock car cool. I mean, even something that's been customized before, it doesn't matter. We're going to make it cooler. You know, I'm going to be driving this truck on a daily, almost daily basis back and forth to work. So I'm excited to get it in the 2-post lift and start tearing this apart and start creating something cool. You get it up here, Timmy.
I'm just wondering why you wanted it this high.
What do you think? That's not a good ride height?
It wouldn't surprise me one bit. You want to go?
No. Man, you know, after looking it over, I'm going to say it this one time. This time, you're right, Timmy. You're right. We got to go a little bit bigger than I was originally anticipating. A little bit. I mean, this represents everybody here. Not only am I going to drive it a lot, but we're going to use it for the shop. We're going to go to shows, and I want to get a 2-car trailer to put behind it, load some cars up on it, have a nice-looking caravan going down the road. We're well represented. Yeah. A little bit bigger wheel than I was originally anticipating, so 28-inch wheel, and the tires maybe a little bit bigger too, like 40s.
He said I'm going a little bit bigger tire, a little bit bigger wheel.
Yeah, and then we got to be able to clear the 40s, so it's got to be at least 3 feet off the ground, right? And I want to switch up a little bit too and put coilovers on it this time. Coilovers on the front, you know, nice shock hoop and everything, but on the back, we can't have a coilover and haul a 2-car trailer, right? So a big airbag on the back, big 4-link front and rear, so we can totally adjust it depending on the weight, so we can haul whatever we want and not have any issues. Right. And we got to make it look good while we're going there too. So, you know, I want to take all the chrome off, paint the grill, all color match, all black, and just make this thing look mean coming down the road. And I want to put a roll and lock bed cover on it too, just so we can lock up all our stuff in it and just not have to worry about nothing. Just use it, man. We'll have a good time with it. So, y'all ready to do it?
Let's do it.
We got a brand new King Ranch in. We're gonna go ahead and start getting this took apart. We can make it a whole lot cooler. One shot, brand new. I think this truck only has like 46 miles on it. It's the kind of shop we are, I guess. You know? Now all we got left is the drive shaft. We're gonna remove that. Hey Tim, would you give me a hand? Alright, it's gonna go get powder coated. Not gonna try and lower this by myself. I'm gonna call Mr. Muscle over. Thanks, Muscle Man.
Alright, we got the truck all disconnected from the axles, got rid of all the leaf springs, the multiple measurements to figure out the ride height, where I want the truck to sit. The axles are located at the right height, so the next step is building the 4-link placement. Everything is going to depend on the drop down on the frame itself of where the play happy. So it's really critical of placement of all the pivot points. So I got to locate where the pivot points are. Once those are located on the template, all I have to do is get back and draw whatever looks cool. I got my pivot points located in the template itself. Got a real rough idea how I want the shape in metal. The drop down itself is going to be really a focal point to look at. So you really want that to look cool. I think what I'm going to do is bring it over to the table, then I can really lay it out and really get a feel for design. You know, I just want to come up with something that's different. You know, I hate doing the same thing over and over and over. So that's definitely not what we're going to do on this. We're going to do something that's unique, creative. That's what I want. I want something, when the truck drives by, people go, dang, look at that right there. And this being a major focal point on parts, this has got to look good. The major shape, the major measurements are all in place. So I'm going to transfer this over to some metal. So I'm going to give this to Jesse. Buddy. You already know.
Yep.
At a 1/4 inch. This is the main thing right here. Is 3/4 hole, 3/4 hole. And the rest is just make it straight here.
All right, I'll get right on it. All right, so Bill brought me the drawings for the hangers. So now what I'm gonna do now is just grab all the measurements, just put them on my trusty computer, and get it ready to go on the plasma table. But now the only thing is, these are a whole lot longer, because usually the ones we build usually are like half the length. So these are like double the length. This actually backs up perfectly, so the machine did its job. So now what I'm gonna do, just clean them up real quick. Find the center of these circles right here. I'm gonna mark my hose, punch them. I gotta clean that one off real quick. So I got these all cleaned up, punched up. As you can see, these hangers are big, bigger than normal size, but it's for Bill's shop truck, and you already know whatever Bill does is never small. So let me walk this over to him to see how that truck turns out.
Lifting up the 450 is part 1 of my new idea for the shop trucks all around the country. And for that, we need a custom trailer. And luckily, I know just the guy to help. What's up, Brian?
Hey, man. What's going on? How you doing?
Man, real good, real good.
What's going on in your world? What are you in there for?
Well, I got a new shop truck.
Okay.
And it's got a little lift on it.
They all have a little lift on it. What are we talking a little lift here?
Well, it's a little higher than normal.
Come on, let's go in the back here and draw it up.
So, Robert, what I need is a bumper pull. Right. And I want the ability of hauling 2 cars at once, and I don't want to be limited to the weight I can carry. My big 5500, which is 16,000 pounds, and, and Tim's truck itself is over 10,000. Plus, whatever else I fit on the trailers. Okay. At least 30,000 pounds.
I think we got the perfect trailer for you. What we can do is we can take one of our basic PT trailers here. We can modify the front to where we'll put a 1-inch plate here at the height we need so that you won't have a big drop coming off the truck.
Right, yeah, that's what I don't want is the big drop coming down, having to support it. Exactly. And have to worry about stopping and starting.
We'll put all of that on the trailer itself. This one shows fold-over ramps. We're going to do pull-out ramps. Make it easier for you to get up on there.
Right.
These are typically attempts. That should give you more than enough capacity for anything that you're trying to do. We're going to go with 17.5 tires, dual wheel. You will not have wheel and tire issues. I promise you that.
Big axles, big tires, super long.
This thing is going to be massive. With all the specs and things that Bill's telling me, this is probably going to be one of the largest open-air bumper pull trailers that we've ever built.
That sounds like it. That's what I need.
All right,
let's do it. Now that we figured out the hangers, Tim and Dave are making room for the huge drop down by smoothing everything out. What do you think, Timmy?
That's a big bracket.
It's a huge bracket that holds a lot of weight, right?
Plus, with all this boxed, it's going to be even stronger.
Oh, yeah. What we'll do, we got the 2 outer pieces on. Let's get the 2 inner pieces on, and we'll start boxing that in. That's the next step. Because we're going to be hauling a lot of weight with the F450, the rear suspension has to be extra heavy duty. We're going to make the 4 links out of 5/16 DOM tubing. And then we're going to build our 4-link bars. So it's literally bulletproof. Lower, twist it. All right, 58 and 3/8. This is going to let us transfer all the power from the truck all the way down to the axle, and it all comes right through the 4-link bars themselves. So that's a major component of the suspension and transferring all the power to the truck, to the road, and to be able to handle everything that's behind this truck as far as stopping and starting. All of that weight gets transferred right here onto these bracketry all the way up to the truck itself.
We're making the rear link bars. These are the, looks like the lower. I seen I made the lines when I was cutting with the saw, so I know this is as far as I can go to get my measurement for the coping. But as long long as I go to there, good.
It's pretty cool. We can make these quick little fixtures, quick little jigs, you know, to make them consistent. Not only that, when we're building it, but after we tear this apart, get it powder coated, we use that same jig to put it all back together. It all goes right back in nice and straight. You don't have to, you already know it because the picture's already here. Get it all square first. So it's a really, really critical stage of the build process is getting everything 100% square. We want the truck going down the road with the trailer going perfectly straight. Ready?
Yeah.
That is absolutely perfect. Timmy.
Yes, sir.
Man, the 046 Ford. It's endless, right?
It's always the small details that take the longest, and we ain't started none of those yet.
Right. You know, a few months back, old Blue Thunder was just a shell of a vehicle. In a few more months, it'd be a badass surprise from my fellow Northsider, Ryan and his dad. We gotta hook him up. We gotta get it done.
Yeah, you're true on that. We need to get something good for him.
You know, good thing, we got a lot of stuff out of the way. We got a lot of stuff checked off our list. We got the frame complete. We got the rear suspension done. We got the engine mounted. You know, got rid of the old Chevy engine. Got a new late model 5.0 Coyote in it. You know, we've done a lot of work to it, but we got a long way to go still. Next up on the list is all new floor. There's no reason to even try to save it. Let's just cut it all to the rear bumper. Front suspension. You know, there's nothing in the interior, which is good. We don't have to tear anything out anymore. Bad for John. John's got to make everything. But, you know, the good thing about it, we can make it how we want it and make it cool. There's a lot of work involved there to bring it up to 2021 standards.
So where do you want to start?
Well, let's just get out and get after it. We'll get the floors done, get the front suspension done, then we can pull the front end off and do the firewall.
All right, well, I'll get with Max and get the column, the gauges, the AC, make sure we have everything here, and if not, we need to get it here, because right now, shipping is crazy. You think 2 days, it take 2 months.
When it came back from Media Blast, the Ford was in really, really rough shape. The body guys can fix some of it, but the floors are just beyond fixing. So we cut them all out and just started totally fresh.
So now I got the old floor cut out. Next step is go ahead and start breaking my new metal for the transition. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut this out and continue on making the drop shaft tunnel. Okay, so I got my 2 pillar pieces in. Next step is go ahead and make this piece tunnel. As you can see, all these little lines right here, I'm breaking it. It's starting to roll. So if I do enough of these lines on both sides of the center, it's going to have a nice radius of the transmission. Everything's looking good right here. So now it's time to go ahead and make my drive shaft tunnel fit to my transmission tunnel. To be able to do it in one piece. There's no breaks in it, so it's going to be one nice smooth line. It's going to go right to my transmission tunnel. Everything is really just coming together on this car. There you go, man.
Heck yeah.
This is pretty much the only piece of the original floor left. Everything else has been made new.
Alright. Looking good, man, compared to what it was, right? Full of rust and full of holes, and
this wasn't safe.
Full of crap.
Yeah.
This puts us about midway point as far as we'll take the body off and get busy.
That sounds good.
To save some time, we're going to work on the front and the back at the same time for the coupe. So our new fabricator, John, is making the notch cover. We've heard about John for a while. We know about his skill set. And as busy as we are right now, it's good to have him on the team.
So now we got the notch in, and it all fits nice. We're going to go ahead and tack it in place, and we're going to join the back of the car to the front of the car and fill a little bit around the notch and be done with the floors in this car.
the body in the 46 Ford Coupe in good enough shape. So now John can make the new door panels.
All right, I've got all my pieces made, got them together. So the next thing I'm gonna do is actually get in the car. I want to start getting them in place and getting it laid out and getting all the structure there. Once that's all in place, we'll start mudding it together. We're going to do it in the car. That way you can see the door has a little bit of a curve to it. So if we body work this in place, it's going to help hold that curve. That way the panel won't flex and go flat. We can go body work it over on the table and get it finished up over in the shop. So this is our insert, and what we're going to do, take this TIG rod and I'm going to bend it around my insert just to create some body insert, and I'm going to scribe it out and just creating some layout lines so I know where to put my rods at. I'm going to use my insert as my jig to bend it. Alright, that's going to be our layout right there. Everything's got a good line to it, so grab some glue, lock these down. Bill wants to keep the feel and style of an old hot rod, just to keep it nice and clean and give it some elegant touch to it without going too far overboard.
It's kind of got that 50s diner look. We should be in roller skates and doing this. Just roll around.
Alright, so we'll let that do its thing. Once it's dry, we'll start with the body work. Time to sling a little mud. Just want to use our wire as our guide. Get a nice contour in here. Now we're just taking our paper and sanding our contour into this. What I'm doing is I'm only putting the bevel on one side of the wire. That way it just kind of steps up and down. Looks like layers in the panel. All right, so we got everything body worked in. Lines are nice and straight, everything looks good. These two inserts are going to have the accent color on them, and with this panel being wrapped in the base color of the car, and it fits right into the door. Magic.
So on the 450, we're going to go air on the rear and coilovers in the front. With that kind of setup, the rear airbags will be extra strong and be able to handle whatever we want to haul. While the coilovers in the front give us just that different look for this go-around.
So first thing is go ahead and start putting the coilovers in is making them mount right here. This is going to be the base of the coilover right here. Then we'll bring it all the way up. I'm going to make a nice little radius across here, a couple bends, and this is where I'll attach the top of my pullover. So first thing is go ahead and get started making those mounts. Some people might buckle under the pressure of, you know, building something custom, especially something custom for Bill Carlton, because, you know, Bill Carlton, he's been doing this for a long time. Me, I've worked side by side with Bill for years. I built them all the same. Safety first, you know, quality. Everything has to be strong, sturdy, and built to last. So, you know, that's why I'm there, because not only will we be hauling a lot of weight, I mean, it's a reflection of us, the shop, and I'm building it, so I want to do the best to my ability. That's the bottom wrapped up. Now go ahead and move on to the top. I like the way it looks now.
You know, Jamie did a real good job getting our top loop in and our bottom coilover bracket. It's going to be a little different from what we normally do. You know, normally it's coilovers front and back, or bags front and back. This was a little different. I want coilovers on the front just because I want to do a different look this year. But, you know, I'm going to be hauling a lot of weight. We're all going to be hauling a lot of weight. This is going to be pretty much, you know, a shop truck, so we definitely can't haul a lot of weight with coilovers. So we're going to do bags on the back, coilovers in the front, just kind of mix it up a little bit. The thing I'm trying to do now, the challenge is we got a bunch of tube work in the back for the bags that come down to the bag. Now this is just total opposite, where the coilover is going to be mounted up high, so all the pipe work has to go up in the front and all down in the back. So we're going to try to do our best. Man, that's what it needs, is some three-dimensional more.
Yeah, bring it out. Definitely give it that style we're looking for.
So let's bend this same radius, probably right about here.
All right, I guess we can start bending.
That'll work.
Just looking at it, it looks like some bent pipes. We just cut the ends off, put up there, but that's definitely not the case. It is very labor intensive to notch, bevel, cut, grind, do that 20 times in some cases just to make the pipe fit just right. And once you weld over it, it just looks super easy then, but it's definitely not that easy.
It looks like somebody looking through binoculars.
I don't know what it looks like. I like the way it looks. It looks good. Nice.
You know, I got a call from Robert saying the F450 trailer is ready for pickup. You know, it's usually midday. I'm that customer, and I'm excited. Robert, what's happening, man?
How you doing, man?
Man,
doing all right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You ready to pick that thing up?
I'm definitely ready to check it out, and I'm ready to put it to work.
We're all excited about this trailer. This is the biggest thing we've ever built here. So we can't wait to see what you're going to load on it.
Let's go check it out.
Let's go check it out. Man, I think you're going to be excited about this. This thing is a beast.
Man!
All right, what do you think about this? This is what we talked about.
Man! This is exactly what I need. This is badass.
This is not like anything we've ever built before.
This is really going to help me and the shop out. You can't haul the cars that we have on a normal trailer. It has to be custom built like this.
Check out this hitch that we put on the front of it. 1 inch thick plate.
What?
No ball. We're going to put a pintle eye on the front of this.
What? I've never had one of those like that. That's crazy looking.
For the kind of weight that you're hauling, you've got to have it. We've got multiple adjustment holes where we can raise it up to the height that you need with that big truck.
No matter if it's high, low, whatever weight you got on it,
we'll be able to raise it. We've got hydraulic that you're going to put on this thing. You're not going to have any issues as far as raising this thing up and down.
I hate trying to. I can't.
You will never have that issue again, and it will pick up anything that you've got on there. This will handle it.
Man, this is cool. This is cool.
We have changed out all of the axles. You have got 15,000 pounds on each axle.
What?
17 5-wheel and tire assemblies. You are not going to have an issue on this.
This is way more than I was thinking in my head. I'm impressed.
Good. That's what we do. Look at the length of this. 40 foot.
Super long.
40 foot dub on the end for easy loading.
We can haul 2 cars on this no matter what they are. I want to be able to go anywhere I want to go and haul anything I want to on it.
This will handle it.
Thank you.
This is the first for us. I think you'll enjoy it.
Thank you, man. I knew you were going to hook me up.
Once you get it hooked up, put the trucks on it, send some pictures. I can't wait to see it.
I'm going to do that, man. Thank you, Robert. You know, the 21 F450 is going to perform double duties for us. It needs to haul our show trucks to car shows while looking good doing it. You know, we got the lower bag mounts done. We got the upper bag mounts all tied in. You know, it isn't as strong as we need. So it's all about adding a lot more bars, a lot more strength, and a lot more style. You know, the key to making it super strong is the intersections of all the piping, all the joints where they intersect with one another, and one transfers the weight down to another joint, transfers the weight to somewhere else. So just like kind of like a truss system where you have the little zigzags and they all intersect at certain points, and that's basically what we're building here on the suspension itself, is using the pipes not only for style, but it's also meant to be super strong. You know, in a process like this, you know, there comes a time where you know it's done, it feels right, looks right. That's exactly what this does. Now it's time to blow it apart and get it off to powder coat. The 46 46 Coupe is one of those really iconic cars. So we're going to add modern features and still keep that custom classic design. So John is hiding the subwoofer in a fully custom built suitcase.
One of the things we have to do with this 46 Ford is we want to make sure that this thing still has that classy look, that classy feel to it. So how to do it is going to be to disguise it. So I've already built the subwoofer enclosure to look just like a suitcase. Things got all the detail sanding done, looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with wrapping the center of this. You got to get down into the groove where it looks like it separates. And we'll work it up into each groove, top and bottom. And then from there, it'll be looking like a suitcase. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to take our vinyl here, get it all glued up. All right, set that to the side, glue up the enclosure. I'll use a paintbrush and get the glue all the way down in the crack. That way when I wrap it, it'll hold the vinyl in place. And boom goes the dynamite. All right, here we go. It's a moment of truth. Stick it and start wrapping. Just want to start by working this down into this groove here. Give a little stretch around that corner. Working around these corners is very difficult. You want to make sure that you work down into the bottom of this corner, because if you just stretch it across it and go around it, you won't be able to get down into the bottom and we'll lose this detail. It's quite an adventure to get around this thing and get this thing wrapped, but in the end, I think it's going to be well worth it. It looks like a piece of luggage from the 1940s instead of a subwoofer from the 2000s. That is our suitcase. Let's get some belts on it. So this is just a piece of welt cord. We'll be taking this, wrapping it with our vinyl, and this is what gets tucked down into the groove around the suitcase. This is just going to help to mimic the seam on the suitcase where the tops and the edges come together. It's just a little creative detail in here. I'm going to trim it down so it's narrow enough, and we'll just wrap it around the box. Like a glove. Last thing to go on. Now, we'll put our woofer in it. All right. And no one's going to ever know that there's a speaker in this thing. This thing turned out great. Almost better than I imagined it, so get it in the car.
Like any big job, the 46 Coupe has a big checklist for all the stuff we got to get done. And this one is a really long list. While John and his team are making the custom interior, we're finishing up the front suspension.
You know, Old Blue Thunder's really come together. We got the frame done, got the body, getting busy, so how to build everything. So the next step, putting the wheel and tire underneath with the spindle, mocking up the lower control arms. Then we're really rolling with it, and we get this thing done. We're gonna call that ride height. It's good. It's the perfect distance this way, because we're gonna get a little bit of negative camber when we go up, so that'll clear even more and more, you know, with the radius. We'll see the angle of the lower ball joint real quick.
Needs to go forward about an inch, 3/4 inch.
You know, there's a lot of variables when it comes to setting something like this up. There's no, this is wrong, this is right. You got to rely on the experience each and every single time, build upon the last experience. So that's where we're at right now, is the latest and greatest doing what we do. While the frame just needing a little bit of final welding and the cab in the body shop, I can finally see the end on this build. Next up, the last bits of metal work. Full interior, rolling chassis, paint, and we'll be able to surprise Ryan's dad with Blue Thunder looking a whole lot better than it did sitting in his garage. I'm sure there's a couple of old timers that worked on this car when it was new. They had no... With the 450 being so high up, I want to add some lights. So George is going to light this thing up.
So today we're going to be installing 20 rock lights. It's going to light up the whole undercarriage. You know, our focus is to light up, you know, all the suspension work, everything that's, you know, it's custom made. We're going to, you know, light up the whole rear end, the whole front axle. So it's a real meticulous job, but once it's all done, it really sets the car off at night. So like on these, usually what we have to do before we start drilling is we have to look underneath the hood, because on these newer models, you know, they have so much electronics, they have everything that they jam up under the hood, that you have to be careful, because if you start drilling, you can easily, you know, drill through like an ECM or a fuse box or something. Perfect example, there's a big wiring harness right here, and we could easily hit this, so that's pretty much why you want to be careful when you want to pull these out, or always see before you start drilling. Now that I got the holes in the fender wells, it's time to start running some wire. You know, the tough challenge on it is going to be just trying to link everything up together, you know, making sure that everything is in line. And not only does it have to work right, you know, it has to look good underneath the truck, because this is a jacked up truck, you know, and when people look underneath it, you don't want to see wires hanging or, you know, things right underneath the motor. You want it to look nice and neat for putting these lights. They're 2,000 lumen, and they have 3 little LEDs in them. So, I mean, you always want to put them in the right space. That way we don't cast any shadows or anything like that. They're right in the perfect place to show the perfect lighting on it. Cool, I got these all wired in. Now time to plug them up and see if they work. 2 down, 18 to go.
I can't stand all that chrome on the new 450 shop truck. So we're gonna pull it all off, and Edgar and the team are gonna paint it all glossy black to match the rest of the truck.
We got this grill for Bill's F450. What he wants to do is black it out. So what I gotta do, pretty much tear it apart, scuff it, prep it, and turn it into gloss black. Pretty much what I'm mixing up is some sealer that's specialized for chrome, because usually when most people paint chrome, eventually like 2 months or so later it starts flaking off. So this is the sealer that I'm using, which is black. It's gonna give me an advantage of when I throw my coat, which is the base coat. It get faster coverage, and it'll be gloss black by the end of the day. Done deal, baby.
So at a young age, I got into cars. All through high school, had custom cars and kind of grew from a hobby to a full-time career. My favorite part about building the cars and why I do what I do is I like to be able to show what I do with my hands and create something from nothing. For me as a builder, I've always been on the forefront of all new technology, new builds, new custom ideas. I'm a real technological person, so I've been able to bring the 21st century into a lot of hot rod builds, which is kind of where the industry is going now. Extensive has always been years ahead of the game. Stuff that they're doing now, people are not going to be doing for 5 more years, you know, and to be here and kind of bring, you know, ideas I have and the skills I have to team up with what they already do and all the extravagant builds they do is just going to kill it. I always like doing different kinds of stuff. I don't like to be like the cookie cutter kind of guy where you're doing the same car over and over, repetitive stuff. One thing about being extensive, you never know what's going to come through the door next. You look at it and go, how are we going to do that? And next thing you know, it's just, wow, there it is.
It's all come together on the F450. We're gonna add 28-inch wheels and a rolling bed cover. I love seeing projects come together. New shop truck, new shop trailer, trailer loaded. It's impressive. As good as the 450 looks, it's got to be built to perform. We have a car show we're going to, so we're going to load it up with about 20,000 pounds. So we're not wasting any time putting the shop truck to work. Last little bit, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I know it's your first show with us, man. You got to be excited.
I am, dude. I am. I love the shows.
Hey, it's a lot of work, but you have a good time, too.
It's a lot of stuff.
You ready to roll, man? Last little bit.
Everything else is pretty much loaded up.
Man, Timmy's finishing up right now with the trucks. He got it all loaded up. This is the last thing. We can roll.
It's ready to go?
Yeah. Here, I'll grab this one.
All right, let's go see it. I'll get this.
Come on, man.
Oh, man. That is way bigger than I thought you guys were going to build it.
A little bit higher than we originally anticipated.
For sure.
Well, it's got to look good, too.
Oh, it definitely does. Me being in the office, I don't get to see a whole lot of the builds until they're done. But seeing this thing roll out, you know, as a whole is just, it's mind-blowing.
Let's go check it out.
All right.
Let's go load up.
That's a hauler. Right? That is serious.
Do you expect anything less than Bill to put a brand new truck on the lift?
That's very true.
You know, it's a
a little bit higher than I was originally going to do. We just, keep pushing the button, kind of
look better as it got bigger.
Get it on the lift.
It's a little higher when you wanted it.
It's a perfect height.
It's awesome.
I know at first I said I wanted just a little lift, little tires, but seeing the truck now, the height it is, the huge lift we put on it, the huge 4-link, all blacked out with big wheels and tires, this couldn't represent Extensive any better.
The wheels on this thing are awesome. That set it off right there.
28-inch TISs, all black.
That's a monster. But it fits it.
Perfect.
Yes. And the 4-link under there is just massive.
Yeah, you was wondering why I needed that many 1-inch FK Heims, right?
Yeah. Now I see why they're all there.
Right. I mean, that's a tremendous amount of weight behind stopping and starting. So each one of those points were just critical. It's pretty cool, too. I wanted to mix it up a little bit and put coilovers in the front. And, of course, we had to have the airbags in the back. To haul weight like this, there's no way you could haul this much tonnage with coilovers in the
test, much less 2 trucks on this trailer. So this truck's going to be a workhorse that we're going to use. I mean, it's going to be used.
We had to make it look cool, too. We had to have the tube work coming all down and just black it all out.
Bill could not have any chrome. Everything blacked out.
And spider wraps come in, wrap the bars, wrap the shocks, the inner fender wells. It's still black, but it's little twist.
Yeah. And how shows go, we can't leave all the products in there. So we put a bed cover and a pull out. There's a deck system in the bed. You pull out and everything goes in there. And then the cover covers everything.
Yeah, so we can lock it up, put all our straps up, put all our equipment up. Very cool.
You guys ready to roll? That's all done.
Everything's strapped. That strap, trailer's hooked up. Put these in, we can roll.
Let's go for a test drive.
Let's go.
I'm driving.
Shotgun.
Show season starting off, and I'm excited. It used to be when I roll into a car show, you want to get that trophy. Now how you roll into the car show is way more impressive than any trophy you go home with, in my opinion. Rolling up in the new shop truck, new trailer, with the trailer fully loaded, that's what the car show is all about to me. Just one more example of us building cool stuff and then showing how we do it all around the country.